Welcome to A Double
and
Dice
with your host Kim.
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage,
Pull up a comfy chair.
because we are ready to roll.
Welcome to episode 70 of A Double and Dice. And today we're going to go through some spoilers that were spoiler cards, I should say, that were spoiled during the fan appreciation event. I cannot talk today. At Worlds. And so we'll get to that after our dice back because we're going to do that first because, people like me who don't like looking at spoilers but going to spoil myself today, we're giving you a warning.
Well, Kim, do you just want to go away and then I can send you a message when I'm done talking about the spoilers and you can come back?
Well, it's sitting right in front of my face now.
Well, you didn't have to look.
That's true. I did not have to look. That would be actually funny. Could you imagine? I just sit there.
I mean,
I hear on the headphones.
You have done 2 whole episodes without me this year.
That's right.
Mostly. One episode I was back for part of it, but the other one was completely without me present. And then I just sent you stuff to put together. So anyway,
all good.
there's things we can do if you're really that anti-spoiler.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
All
As I
right.
said, the only other I didn't look at these when you posted them
Mm-hmm.
on our Twitter. But
That's the dmNorthTV Twitter for those of you that don't currently follow.
I didn't look at them, but it's okay. I mean, when we're doing it and we're spoiling it, it's fine.
Yeah. And in fairness, we're recording this and it will be coming out at the beginning of October. And right now, the Secret Wars release date, which is the spoilers we'll be talking about today, is Q4 2022. So we are hoping to have it by the end of the year. And we heard that straight from Jimmy's mouth in episode 69. So if you haven't listened to that episode yet, you can head back and check out all of the world's coverage, including our interview with Jimmy.
Yep. Let's fingers crossed that it'll actually come out before Christmas.
Fingers are crossed.
And toes.
And toes.
Don't forget
we spend too much time together.
I know. All right. But before we begin that, we're going to jump into the dice bag first. And I think there's a lot to
there's some stuff. So before we jump into feedback from episode 69, our road trip to Worlds episode, I did want to say for anyone that had not gone over to dm-north.com and taken a look at our episode post for episode 68, where we covered Mary Shazam, we got a ton of really great info from Son of L, fellow dm-north.com member. And he put a extraordinary amount of information about Mary Shazam, Mary Marvel, the differences between Captain Marvel and Mary Marvel, and how that impacted on the differences between DC and Marvel and how that played out. I can't go through all of it. It's a lot. It's wonderful and fantastic. There's a lot of really great information there. So huge thanks to Son of L for providing that information after listening to our Mary Shazam podcast. Really great. And again, recommend you head over to dm-north.com, find the episode link for episode number 68 and read through that if it's of interest to you, because it's really been put together in a great package.
And I will link it in the show notes.
Thanks, Kim. So let's jump into feedback from Worlds. So we heard from Dana, who is our current U.S. national champion, U.S. national Canadian champion.
The Canadians took over.
Yeah, the Canadians took over. Who commented on the episode and said, "Great episode, folks. Appreciate all of the awesome Worlds coverage." And we will reach out to Dana and get him on the podcast at some point soon. We just haven't had the ability to do so yet. But I was not able to get him on mic at Worlds. It was really hectic, as you guys know from the previous episode. And also Dana left on Sunday morning, so we had a little bit less time. But we will get him on the podcast. We also heard from everyone's fave hero, Donnie, on the YouTube as per usual, and he said congratulations to all the players that attended, and also great coverage, Jocelyn and Jordo. Thank you for your striking appearance. So always love to hear from Donnie. Super happy to hear from him. And yeah, congratulations to all the players that attended. Every single person that attended had a fantastic time. And if you have listened to any of the other podcasts. So there is Rollin' Thunder. That's Rollin' Thunder, no apostrophe, no G, .xyz. They've got 2 episodes out now, one that primarily covered U.S. Nationals and drafting on Thursday, and then the other one covered Worlds and Pauper on Sunday. So those episodes are both out now, as well as we've got all of the content that Andy May put together for the Ministry of Dice, which came out in their most recent episode as well. And Andy and Chris, Andy England, that is, and Chris, put their own color and commentary around all of the audio that was shared. So that was also a really great episode. So check that out. Lots of great content from Worlds, U.S. Nationals, Pauper, drafting, global escalation, worst format ever. That's just my personal opinion. It does not reflect the opinions of dmNorthTV.
Where's the disclaimer?
I just put it in. So also we got some commentary that someone thought that Elvis himself had made an appearance on the podcast. So if you did not listen to that, or you didn't catch that, in the second half of our Worlds episode, we interviewed one of the players who did have a bit of a cadence to his voice that sounded like he could be Elvis. So check it out and see what you can find about that. And then I think the rest of the feedback that we got came through our Discord channel at dmNorthTV on Discord. We have a Double and Dice podcast convo channel there. And there was a question asked by head judge and Dice Masters judge extraordinaire Nick Jackalopespan. He says, I should know this, but did any Canadians even play in Global Escalation? Did you, the Canadians, essentially gift us that win?
That's right. So that's the only event that a non-Canadian won.
It is the only event at the Memphis World Championships that a non-Canadian won for Dice Masters. And I am not here to say that we gifted that win, because I didn't play in Global Escalation. There were no Canadians played in Global Escalation, and all the rest of the Canadians were in the top 8 cut. So I do not want to take away from Shadow Meld's victory there. Patrick won that event. I hear that he had a vicious team, but with that said, none of us played, so we will never know for sure.
Well, that happened the same day as actual Worlds, right? So if you weren't really in the top, then you could have gone and played that.
That's right. If you weren't in top cut, then you had the opportunity to play in Global Escalation. Or if you were like me, you elected to draft.
And interview people.
And draft. So.
And draft some more.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think Worlds was a great time. Can I tell one story, Kim, that I didn't tell last episode?
Sure.
So I did not tell you the story about the Rare Bizarro draft.
Oh. And tell listeners what is about this Rare Bizarro if they haven't known. Where can they go to see that? I think we talked about it in one of our episodes.
We did talk about Rare Bizarro in the Gen Con episode. I think that was episode 66, but I'm not 100% certain. So Rare Bizarro is from the Superman Kryptonite Crisis set, and he has a max 1, but anyone who knows the double rainbow drafting rules knows that there are no max dice per card in a draft. So you can draft as many dice for a particular character or action that you have the ability to draft in your set. So just by drafting additional cards, you get additional dice. So Rare Bizarro says that it's been errated, but it says that, like, during your main step, you may place that die in your bag. If you do, your opponent gets to place a die of their choice in their use pile. So it's free. You don't have to buy it. Doesn't matter what the cost is. It has Overcrush. So, and its stats are good because it's Bizarro. So at Gen Con, you might recall, if you listened to that episode, I drafted 6 dice on my Rare Bizarro. However, in the last draft that I played at Worlds, I was in a draft with a pot of 8, and I opened up my pack, and in my pack I had a super rare Lois Lane. No, super rare Harley Quinn.
Oh, okay.
Super rare Harley Quinn, which I had, but Rob didn't have, and a Rare Bizarro. So now I was in a super conundrum here, because I wanted to win my draft. And Rare Bizarro is an invitation to win. You pull a Rare Bizarro, you put a couple of dice on that thing, and it's very unlikely that you're going to lose that game. It is not impossible, but it is unlikely. But Super Rare Harley's really good too, especially if you can draft a Batman to help you make sidekicks, because she has the ability that while she's active, your sidekick dice get +1 attack and +1 defense, so they become 2/2 sidekicks. And also, when sidekick dice are fielded, they deal a damage to target character die.
2 damage?
2 damage to target character die? Possibly.
It was 2, yeah.
So that's pretty good, because you can clear out all your opponent's sidekicks and their low defense items and then push through for additional damage. So it's a really good card as well. And also, Rob didn't have it. So, and also, on Thursday, when I passed a super rare, the next time I drafted, I opened an identical pack down to the awful super rare that was in it. So I picked the super rare, and I was having a chat. We were all chatting. We were just, casually having this draft, and I was talking about drafting to win, not drafting to collect, as I was trying to figure out how I could make my super rare Harley into a really great win condition.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm saying that, my Rare Bizarro has passed over 2 newer players who didn't know what it did, and landed in the hands of Charlie. So as I was
with the third person,
4th.
Okay.
So I had it. It passed through 2 people and then Charlie. So he hit the 4th person to put their hands on it, and Charlie hears that and he says, "If you are drafting to win, why do I have this card in my hand?" Because he had counted back to figure out exactly where the pack had started.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, because I had this, and I showed him the super rare Harley. And what was even funnier was that his pack also had a super rare Harley in it that he'd already drafted. So he drafted the Bizarro. Yeah. I said, you are not going to get any more dice for that Bizarro, because he was playing one of the newer players. And Charlie's a great guy. He wasn't going to stomp on the guy. He wasn't going to be oppressive. But anyway, every Bizarro that came into my hand after that, I drafted it. So I had 2 uncommons and a common Bizarro. So I had 6 Bizarro dice, but no rare Bizarro.
That's funny.
And Charlie had 1 rare Bizarro with 2 dice on it, and that was it. He still won the game. So, but those players didn't know what they had. Right. So we explained to them what to look for in that particular card, and if they were drafting the set, that they should look out for it. And so it was really funny. It was a funny little interaction, and Rare Bizarro is like I don't know, it's like the draft card of the set. There's some really standout draft cards in Superman Kryptonite Crisis. Rare Bizarro is one of them. Common Anti-Monitor is one of them. The Common Starro is one of them. The Common Poison Ivy is one of them. Like, there's a lot of really great cards in this set for draft. And then also there's stuff that just like super big stats for low cost, like the Supergirl that's a 3 cost, but you get the up to a 3/8/8 on her stats and things like that. It's a really fun set to draft. We had a lot of fun drafting it, but that is the Rare Bizarro story of the day. And if I had kept that Rare Bizarro, I would have had 8 dice on it, which I think is the record.
Yeah. Only in a draft.
Still super strong, even in constructed.
I debated putting it on my team for something, but I didn't.
I would.
Yeah, do it. When the time comes to win, you just put it in your bag.
Because your opponent puts it in the use pile. Just don't maybe do it early. Maybe it's your closer instead of your your opening move, right?
When you need that extra amount or something.
So yeah. Anything else on Memphis Worlds weekend, Kim, before we jump into the spoilers of the fan appreciation event?
No. I think we covered majority of it last episode.
I think we did. So today, basically what we're going to do then is we're going to focus on the fan appreciation event at Memphis, at the 2022 Worlds Championship, WizKids Worlds Championships, and talk about the Dice Masters spoilers that were shared there, and how they might interact with or change the game, perhaps, if we get to that level of detail. So first off, we've got we saw some cards we've seen before. So when it came time, after all of the Dice Masters players sat quietly and waited for the HeroClix stuff to be finished. And then they handed the mic over to Jimmy again, and he started talking about Dice Masters. We got to see some of the stuff we'd seen before. So a few of the cards and a few of the slides that you would have seen on the dmNorthTV Twitter account back in August through Gen Con, with, the Abigail Brand and the Dazzler, and those cards were there, as well as the black background cards from the Origin packs. Those were still there. But then what happened was they took us into some new stuff, or they showed us the full card of something that had been partially obscured on some of the slides because of how they had the cards fanned out in the art. So, for example, an example of that would be one of the basic actions called Locked in Combat. You could probably figure out what it said, but it was partially obscured by a previous card. So this is a basic action. It's a 3-cost. It has what looks like Iron Men of some variety on it, and also MODOK,
Captain America,
Spider-Man. So it's interesting art. And it says, target a character die from each player's field zone and set them aside until end of turn, then return them to play at their previous level. When they return to the field zone, deal each 2 damage. So each of those character dies will take 2 damage, is the way I read that. Right,
yep.
Kim?
Yep.
Right. So
they'll do 2 damage to each other, pretty much.
Yeah. So target a character die from each player's field zone and set them aside. When they return to the field zone, deal each 2 damage. So that's really interesting. So it could be a potential remove something from play for the turn, and then at the end of the turn, it might remove it, right? Yeah. KO it. Yeah. So, and I would presume that the targeting of a character die from each player's field zone would be done by the player who plays Locked in Combat. Like any basic action, this is if you bring it, your opponent can buy it from you. So you want to make sure that you can play it better than your opponent. But I think it's an interesting basic action.
Interesting card.
Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool. We then saw the first official epic basic action. I think this is the first one we've heard. The Darkhold. And the text of this was previously spoiled by Jimmy on the Ministry of Dice. When he first introduced the concept of the epic basic action, he didn't tell us that this was what it was, but he said this is the type of effect that an epic basic action would have. So Kim, do you remember the epic basic action rules that were shared?
No, because I was going to ask you the same question.
Well, I know, but I was just going to give you the opportunity to share them.
No, I forgot.
So in order to purchase an epic basic action, you have to have fielded a character that has a 4-cost before you buy one. So you have to have fielded a character that has a 4-cost. It has to be in your field zone when you purchase one. You can only purchase one and use one per turn. So you can't chain them like we do with other basic actions.
Right. And
once you use it, it goes back to the card.
So is it only a 4-cost?
4 or more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the Darkhold is a 5-cost epic basic action. So what that means is you have to have some kind of character in your field zone that has a 4-cost or more before you make the purchase. And then after that, when you use it, you have to use the effect, and then it goes back to the basic action card for purchasing again.
Interesting. I mean, paying 5 to begin with, and then it goes back to the card.
But what does it say, Kim?
Pay X life. Draw and roll X dice.
So let's
say pretty much you can empty your bag and you hope you win on that turn.
Let's say I have 20 life.
Yep.
I can say I'm going to pay 10 life, and I'm going to be able to draw 10 dice and roll them, and maybe I'll win the game with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's epic.
Yeah, because you'll empty your bag and refill it if you have anything in your use pile. So
that's right. You need to, but you want to make sure you do the math that you don't pay more life than dice you can draw and roll.
True, and then make sure purchase stuff before you reload if you need to
Yeah,
reload your bag. Yeah.
exactly. Do the
Before you
math.
before you do it last. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is really interesting, and I'm looking forward to playing with this, especially if you can build some life gain into your team,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you can build some life gain, so you pay a bunch of life and then you get it back, maybe, who knows, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's pretty epic. I'm interested in giving it a try. The art on this looks like Doctor Doom, and he's reading from a book, which I presume is the Darkhold because of the title of the card.
Yeah.
So that's pretty neat.
Mhm. That was the only epic basic action they spoiled, right?
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
They also shared the full art version of Distraction, which we knew Distraction was coming back previously, but we had not seen the full art textless version. And this introduced a concept that I don't think we were really aware of. And we chatted with Jimmy about this when we had him on the podcast last time when we were at Worlds. So we knew when they launched Secret Wars, and we had Jimmy back on the podcast back in May, that all common cards that were textless by nature, in that the card has no game text, it's just a blank card, right?
Mm-hmm.
That those would be full arts. And I think the general understanding in the community was that that was the only type of full art we would get in this set. So all common cards, or all cards that were game textless, that
Like
were
the
blank,
Harley Quinn from Superman.
like the Harley Quinn from
Yep.
Superman Kryptonite Crisis, would all come naturally, not as a rarity, but just all of those cards would have full art. What we've learned now, after going to Memphis, is that in addition to those blank cards having full art, there will also be premium rarities of cards, as there has been in the last few sets. And we've learned that that will include full art textless basic actions, like we saw in Superman Kryptonite Crisis and Dark Phoenix Saga, and Infinity Gauntlet, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Basic action, yeah.
But there will also be premium rarities across rarities of cards that are also full art, or alt art, for cards that have game text.
Talk about chasing cards.
Right? So we have Star-Lord, Star-Crossed Lovers. It's a 4-cost Fisk character. This card had been previously spoiled. It was in the original Secret Wars launch information. You couldn't see all of the text because the text was obscured, again, as the card was placed on the screen. So now we can see the text. It says Star-Lord costs 2 less to purchase and 2 less to field, while you have an active Guardians affiliated character die. That's the rare version of the Star-Lord. And we have the rare version, which has the gold rarity in the bottom left-hand corner with the Secret Wars set image. But now we've also seen an alt art, full art, textless version for the same card, Star-Lord Star-Crossed Lovers. It doesn't have any text. It's a rare, but instead of the rarity being gold, it's black. It's got a black
That's
corner.
how you know. Yeah.
So it makes it look premium. And you see the same thing when you look at the Distraction that's full art. It's a common, but it's got black in the corner of the rarity. So it looks like black plus the letter for common, rare, etc. is going to be the premium version of the card. The other one that we saw at the end of the presentation was Ultimate Spider-Man Life Raft Stowaway. And we've seen this card before, but not the full card and not in this art treatment. This is a common card. It is full art and textless. It has the black left-hand or bottom left-hand corner as common to indicate it's a premium. It's a different art than what we'd seen in previous spoilers. What we don't know about Spider-Man Ultimate Spider-Man Life Raft Stowaway is if it is going to be, if it's going to have game text or not. We can't tell yet. So.
Oh, because we haven't seen the original.
That's right. So, really interesting and lots of questions coming out of all of this stuff, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be like, we gotta chase all this stuff. It's gonna be very interesting.
Well, I guess it depends on what your level of collection is.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Like for me, I've always been focused on, I want cards I can play.
Mm-hmm.
If I come across something like a full art textless basic action card, I'll probably keep it.
Yeah, me too.
But if I can trade it for something else, then I might. So
yeah, if you want something else that's better or that you're looking for.
I will put it out there though, Kim, that I am now 1 card away from completing Superman Kryptonite Crisis. And that card is a full art textless throne card.
You got all your super rares?
I have all the super rares. I have the full art Harley. And I have the other 3 full arts now. So the only full art I'm missing is Throne Car. I do not have it in every like foil, non-foil. And I am not going to that level of collection. I know some people do. All the power to them. But if you have a full art Throne Car available for trade or purchase, I might actually be interested in it because this is the first set that I have gotten anywhere near completing. So in a very long time. So sidebar.
Nice.
At me. Okay, so let's do, before we do anything else, I think maybe, Kim, we should do God Emperor Doom. Do you want to read that one?
God Emperor Doom. Return. No, that doesn't say return.
I think this is Rabam.
Rabam?
Rabam Alal?
Weird. Rabam.
Or Rabern Alal?
I thought it was Raberm Al. Well, it's very hard to see because this card is actually from the actual slide. So, yes. So it's a 6-cost shield. I don't even know who this is. While God Emperor Doom is active at the start of the attack step, target character dies, attack becomes 0 until end of turn. Why 0 in red?
I don't know. That's interesting. This is a rare card.
Yep.
And so God Emperor Doom is, I'm assuming, an alternate version of Doom.
Yeah.
Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom.
In the Secret Wars storyline. I know there's a God Emperor Doom in HeroClix that's quite powerful. So, but this is interesting. So while he's active at the start of the attack step, that would mean my attack step and your attack step.
Yes.
I get.
Doesn't
So
say
I have
anything different.
If I have God Emperor Doom active, I get to choose one of my dice on my attack step and one of your dice on your attack step, that the attack stat becomes 0.
That the attack
I think that's neat.
becomes 0. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
So I could just pick like a sidekick that I'm not attacking with, for example. Or on your turn, I pick something that maybe you're going to attack with because it's, a smart move, like, a sentinel token. 5/5 or a master mold 8/8 or,
a god catcher.
A Dr. Fate on the 7/7 side.
Oh, any of those high ones?
Yeah.
This is meta card.
I choose 0 and then your opponent's like, oh yeah, I guess I'm not winning this turn.
Well, that's every turn unless they get rid of him.
Yeah, that's interesting. And his stats are 135, 256, 267. So.
And 6 cost is not that hard to reach.
It is not that hard to reach.
It's an interesting card.
It's an interesting card. And you know why I suggested we do him next, Kim?
Why?
Because now all of the characters left are female.
Ah, look at you.
Except know.
Spider-Man. We didn't do the Spider-Man one.
We didn't do Spider-Man, but we've seen that before, so.
Okay. Yeah,
we just tell me which ones it's the alt art Spider-Man from the Origin pack. So we have that one now, Spider Tracers, and we have Spider Gwen the Spectacular, but we've seen those before. So,
an Escape we've seen. Cool. All right, we're gonna go to Madeline Pryor.
Absolutely. Hit me with it.
All right. Is that Baroness of Limbo? Yep. 3-cost mask. And this is a rare version to her. While Madeline Pryor is active, your psychic dice get +1 attack. She also has a global, pay a mask, and 1 life. Once per turn, field a psychic from your use pile.
So let's read magic before we talk about her.
Okay. Magic Inferno, also a 3-cost mask. Also a rare. While magic is active, when you use an action die, place a +1 attack and a +1 defense token on her card. And she also has the same global. But except it's pay a bolt and 1 life once per turn, field a psychic from your use pile.
So I find this super interesting, Kim, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but having just come from Worlds, where everybody and their brother and sister was playing Mr. Sinister Global, which is pay 2 generic, field a sidekick die, and prep a sidekick die from your use pile. Now we have this ability that you are paying 1 energy, but you also have to pay a life.
Yeah.
So I think that I don't think anybody would argue that the Mr. Sinister Global is really strong.
Yep.
We might go short of calling it broken. I don't know that it's broken. It's certainly very powerful, and I think more powerful than anyone perhaps expected it to be.
Yeah, because you're using 2 generic. You're not forced to roll a specific energy.
Yeah, and you get to field and prep, right? For that 2 generic. Previously, we had, was it the Collector Global and Infinity Gauntlet that was pay a mask and field a sidekick from your use pile, so you didn't have to pay a life. And now they're moving this addition of the life cost as part of this cost of this global. It reminds me of the change from Magic Missile to Wand. So Magic Missile was pay a bolt and KO a character die. No, KO a deal 1 damage. Deal 1 damage to target character die. And Wand had a similar global, but it was pay a bolt and 1 life. And when that happened, a lot fewer people went for that global. They weren't including it as often on their teams because there was an additional cost in addition to the energy, but you were also using your life as a resource to do that. So it wasn't quite as easy and or extra powerful to do that. So these globals may not be as prevalent perhaps until such time as these other globals rotate out, like the Collector and Mr. Sinister.
Yeah. I find like this set is a lot about life. Losing your life.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like there's life gain. We haven't seen life gain in this set yet, but there's a lot of talk of life loss. So is there life gain coming to balance it out? Right? And losing life is different than taking damage. Right? So you can generally, there's often ways to reduce taking damage, but there's not often ways to prevent taking life.
Correct.
So I think it's really interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of this set and how it fits together. I think that both of these cards have merit in and of themselves for their abilities. Madeline Pryor giving your sidekicks +1 attack. Her stats are 0-1-3, 0-1-4, and 1-2-4. But she buffs the sidekicks. Whereas Magic, when you use an action die, she gets a +1 attack and +1 defense token on her card. So think of that like a loyalty counter or experience, for example. But it's not those types of things, but it does something similar. And her stats are 0-2-3, 0-3-4, 1-4-5. So it's going to be pretty easy when you're using action dice to, buff her stats up.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's pretty cheap, so, and it's not bad stats to start. So.
No, something good to start with. So, so interesting abilities there with the global. Interesting to see that, let's call it balancing of the global from perhaps the overpowerful we have now. And I guess only time will tell if this is like too much, or if there's stuff in the set that's going to balance out the life loss.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So, last card, Kim?
Last card is Invisible Woman.
Yay.
Yep. Also, Dr. Richards.
Yep.
2-cost mask. This is a common version to her. So we've seen a super rare. We've seen the rare, right?
Uncommon.
Uncommon. We haven't seen a rare.
Correct. The rare has not been revealed
Okay.
yet.
Invisible Woman gets +1 attack. It's funny how they actually, sorry, how they say attack now. They don't say A,
Mm-hmm.
like +1 A. You know how all other cards said that? These ones all say attack. Anyways,
Interesting.
observation.
That is a
Um,
good observation.
Invisible Woman gets +1 attack for each of your other active Fantastic Four affiliation character dice. She also has a global play a mask. Target character die must block this turn.
Hmm. So really excited about this one. First thoughts, of course, is on the ability is that she's going to work together with the other versions of the affiliated Fantastic Four, which we haven't seen any of them yet, but Jimmy
No.
has said that they will all be there. And he also referenced something else, but we'll come back to that. So he said that there would be all of the Fantastic Four and more Fantastic Four affiliated people. So that gets me really excited. Like, are we going to see all of the kids from the Future Foundation? Like, I don't know what's in Secret Wars. I'm just excited.
Yeah.
But this is cool because she gets the buff for each of the other active Fantastic Four dice, and the Fantastic Four work together. So it's going to be really easy to get her up on her second and third level, where she's got a 2 attack stat to start. It's going to be really easy to get her up to a 5.
Yeah.
In theory. Depending on how expensive those dice are.
Oh, yeah, the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see them ranging.
Yeah, probably. I think the most exciting part about this from a competitive play perspective, Kim, is that it includes the must block global.
Yeah.
And it's a mask, so target character die must block this turn. Something that's missing from our current meta. We don't have a must block. We don't have a distraction global. Both of those are coming back, or a static field global, pay a mask, target character die is no longer attacking. Both of those are coming in this set, and that's really going to change how the game is played again. So I think it's really going to have a big impact on the meta.
Which card has the static field one?
Distraction.
Okay. See, it's textless here, so I don't know.
Yeah. This one's textless, but the other version, which has the text on it, includes the global ability.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I like that art. It's fun. It's cute. It's good.
It is cool. The full art. It's like baseball with Spider-Man and Green Goblin.
I'm a big baseball person, so
So
that one definitely attracts me.
Yeah. So and then the last thing that we just wanted to touch on is that if you were listening closely to our interview with Jimmy in the last episode, you may have heard him say something that we didn't know about yet. And he mentioned a character that's coming up in Secret Wars, Sheriff Strange. A different version of Doctor Strange.
I can just picture Doctor Strange as a sheriff. I can just picture it.
Yeah. So, what other thematically appropriate characters should we hope for was a question we heard from Jackalo's fam in our Discord. So, what would you like to see? Have you read Secret Wars and any of the Battle World stuff, for example? What would you want to see that we haven't had spoiled yet? We'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas of the types of characters that we might see. I love that we're seeing characters we haven't seen in a while or ever. I love that we're getting more Fantastic Four, because I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan. You've never heard that before, Kim, I'm sure. So lots of cool stuff coming down the pipeline. And, who else do you think we might see in addition to God Emperor Doom and Sheriff Strange, and Ultimate Spider-Man? Like, who else could we see? What are your thoughts?
And you know what? I know it's Marvel, and I don't say this often. I'm very excited for this set.
Well, that is very exciting, Kim.
Yep. You know me, I'm a DC fan, and Marvel, I always like, the same stuff and the same blah, blah, right? So.
But this isn't the same stuff and the same stuff.
It's different, and I'm excited for the new art, and a lot of the abilities sound very interesting, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm really looking forward to it as well. And we would love to hear how much you're looking forward to it. So you can reach out to us in all of the following places. You can send us an email to tripledpodcast@dm-north.com. You can find us on all of our socials, which are Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at dmNorthTV. You can join our Discord channel, dmNorthTV. You can also find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/ you guessed it, dmNorthTV, and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/dmNorthTV. You can find us on Discord individually if you want to at us. You can at Kim at SuperK, and I am at JoceStitch, JoceStitch. And until next time, on a double on dice.